This Saturday is UFC 322, Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title. And this is going to be my full card predictions. And guys, I cannot wait for UFC 322. I mean, this card is stacked on paper, probably the best UFC pay-per-view of 2025. Co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang for the women's flyweight title. Featured fight on the card, Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. We have Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. We have Beneil Dariush versus Benoît Saint-Denis. Has there been a better pay-per-view main card in 2025? Thank God they demoted that bum Bo Nickel down to the prelims, but that's still an interesting matchup, and that's the featured prelim. Bo Nickel's on the prelims. It makes sense, but it's still an interesting matchup. So this card is absolutely stacked. I'm going to go through all my UFC 322 predictions and the main event, man. And that's what's great about this card, too, is not only is it deep in terms of the main card and prelims, it's got really an A+ or A main event. I mean, for JDM, think about the resume he can build if his first ever title defense is Islam Makhachev. Imagine he gets a win. And then for Islam, he's attempting to become 2-division champion. And if he loses, where does he go from there? He says he doesn't want to cut back down, but I guess he would have to. So this is a very meaningful fight for the welterweight division. I'm going to break down every single fight on this card. If you guys enjoy prediction videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, like the video. Also, I will be live streaming the entire card on Saturday if you care to join me. Anyway, let's get into it. First fight of the night. What do we got? We have Viacheslav Borshchev versus Matheus Camilo. Viacheslav Borshchev stepping in on short notice. Camilo was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago against Al-Sawadi. I actually picked against him in that fight. I picked Sawadi to kind of push the pace and win a very close fight. You know, I could see a scenario where Borshchev could win, but man, he's 33 years old. He has a lot of miles on him. I'm not going to forget that career-altering beating he took from Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper just dogged him, man. The beating he took in that fight, that was a definition of too tough for your own good. He gets a win over James Yontop, but that was a close fight. Then he loses to Tom Nolan, loses to Terrence McKinney, gets finished by Terrence McKinney. Camilo, coming off a loss against Gabe Green, got submitted rather quickly. I have to go Camilo. I'm going the younger fighter who has less miles on him, who's actually having a full training camp for this fight. And I just don't think Borshchev is particularly elite anywhere. Like, his strength is his kickboxing, but Camilo's decent. I mean, he's not great, but I think Camilo is the more well-rounded mixed martial artist. I think he'll pressure, and Borshchev wants to have kind of a clean striking matchup, even though he never does. He always ends up in these wars. And he's just taking so much damage at damn near 34 years old. And I think a young, up-and-coming guy like Matheus Camilo, who desperately needs a win in the UFC, who's had a full training camp, who's decently well-rounded, not great, but Borshchev's not great. I'm watching some of the Camilo footage outside the UFC. I actually picked Al-Sawadi to beat him. He doesn't look particularly amazing, but again, where's Borshchev going to beat him? If Borshchev wants to win this fight, it's going to have to be like a masterclass on the feet. I don't think that happens. I think Camilo can mix in the grappling. I think Camilo has good jiu-jitsu. I think Camilo can, compete on the feet. I don't think he's going to get blown out on the feet by Borshchev. So I'm going to pick Camilo to get it done. It's probably going to be a close fight. Maybe Borshchev gets around, but Borshchev also fades because he ends up in these battles. He starts to slow down. He has a lot of scar tissue. And honestly, that means a lot on the judges' scorecards, as crazy as that sounds, because you get busted open, you never know what the judges are going to score. And the commentary team, Dominic Cruz, even if Borshchev wins the first 2 rounds, he gets cut open the third, Dominic Cruz is going to be scoring the first and second for him. Not that matters, but you get my point. So I'm going to pick the younger, fresher, fully trained, full camp Matheus Camilo. I'm going to say decision win. I'll say like a 29-28 decision win. Maybe Borshchev gets a razor close, like first round by landing one more bigger shot and just squeaks out around. But I see Camilo winning this fight, just being the more well-rounded, prepared fighter. Next fight on the card, we have Baisangur Susurkaev versus Eric McConico. Look, I don't think it's the blowout that Tapology has. I mean, -800 for Susurkaev. I think Susurkaev is kind of elevated off of his connection to Khamzat Chimaev. I didn't think he looked all that great against Eric Nolan. He looked good, but he faced some adversity early and didn't look particularly great early. But, I mean, McConico, come on, he's got a split decision win over Cody Bumditch, who's a straight-up bum. Before that, got KO'd by Norasalt and Ruzaboyev. He's 35 years old. Where does he win this matchup? Susurkaev is pretty solid everywhere. I think this is a layup fight. I think the UFC, Susurkaev is kind of the next Khamzat Chimaev. He fights on Dana White's Contender Series. He gets a win there, gets a finish there. Boom, they immediately throw him into his UFC debut like a week later. What did they do with Khamzat? I know it wasn't Dana White's Contender Series, but they had him active on Fight Island. They had like 3 fights in however many months or whatever, and kind of that's what elevated Khamzat. Susurkaev, they're trying to kind of replicate that, and they're throwing in McConico. They're throwing in McConico. I think McConico is better than that, like everyone counting him out, but I think Susurkaev probably runs through him. I think Susurkaev is the better striker, has a nasty kicking game, has good solid grappling. He's training with Khamzat. Again, I don't think that's the end all be all, but that still means something. And McConico is 31 years old, 10-3. He's shorter. He has less of a, he's 2 inches shorter, has 2 inches less of a reach. I think Susurkaev is getting as close as you can get to a layup in this fight. And I think Baisangur, Susurkaev probably gets a highlight reel KO. That's what I'm going to go with. But I could see him getting a sub as well. I could see him, cracking him on the feet, following him to the ground, finding a submission. But I'm going to pick Susurkaev. I think this is going to be like one of those highlights that's going to follow his career forever. So I'm going to say Susurkaev first round KO over McConico. I just don't see where McConico wins this fight, because even if he can do decent in the striking, I think Susurkaev can out-grapple him. I think Eric Nolan's probably better than McConico, to be quite honest. So I'm going to go Susurkaev, highlight reel, first round KO. Next fight on the card, we have Angela Hill versus Fatima Kline. The dogs are going to be barking in this one, boys. I got 150 units on Fatima Kline, okay? Angela Hill, she just punches air, man. She punches air and goes to split decisions. I mean, she lost her last fight against Yasmin Lucindo. Fight before that, won a split decision against Ketlin Souza. Before that, lost to Tabitha Ritchie. Before that, submitted Luana Pinheiro, exhausted Luana Pinheiro. Has the win over Denise Gomes. She's 40 years old, going on 41. This is going to be primarily a striking battle. Angela Hill's not easy to take down. Fatima Kline has decent striking and decent grappling. Fatima Kline KOing Melissa Martinez in her last fight, KO'd Victoria Dudikova in the fight before that, lost to Jasmine Jadavicius. That's not a horrible loss to have. And that was a close fight, if I remember correctly. She's 25 years old. She is 15, damn near 16 years younger than Angela Hill. Now, Angela Hill is particularly durable. Like, I don't remember the last time she's been finished, if she's ever been finished by KO. So I'm not going to pick Fatima Kline to go out there and get a KO, but this is definitely the UFC trying to build up their next strawweight prospect, to the extent they even care about that. So I'm going to pick Fatima Kline to get it done. Does she KO Angela Hill? Probably not. She could, but I think Angela Hill's a step up from Melissa Martinez and Victoria Dudikova. So I'm going to say Fatima Kline via decision, but you never know. Sometimes the dogs are barking, boys. Sometimes the dogs are barking. And according to Tapology, Angela Hill's a massive underdog. Plus 335. I guess that's moderate underdog according to Tapology. But I'm going to pick Fatima Kline via decision, 30-27 decision. Angela Hill will pepper the air a little bit. Fatima Kline will just chop out her legs and probably head kick her a couple times. And Angela Hill will clinch up and she'll be doing the little hi-ya, hi-ya. And then she'll really just be punching air. So I'm going to go Fatima Kline to get it done via decision. Next fight on the card, we have Pat Sabatini versus Chepe Mariscal. I love this fight. This is actually a banger matchup. I love Chepe Mariscal overall. On a great win streak right now. I'm pretty sure I picked him in every fight. Beat Ricardo Ramos in his last fight. Beat Damon Jackson the fight before that. Beat Morgan Sherrier. I may have picked Morgan Sherrier, actually. That was a razor close fight. Beat Jack Jenkins. Beat Trevor Peek. Damn, this dude's been pretty active over the last 2 years. Been pretty active. He's fighting Pat Sabatini, who's a really nasty grappler, who's on a 2-fight win streak. Beat Joe Anderson Brito, out-grappled him there, and beat Jonathan Pierce the fight before that, subbed him there. Last loss is against Diego Lopez, where he got brutally chinned early. Before that, beat Lucas Almeida. Before that, lost to Damon Jackson. Got KO'd by Damon Jackson. This is actually a tricky matchup. Some of these picks I don't have fully locked in yet. Like, I got early kind of leans, but I'm not really sure. I'm probably going to pick Chepe. Chepe's just a dog, He's a nasty, dirty, grinding type of fighter, and he has good grappling. Like, the reason he beat Jack Jenkins, I mean, he was winning that fight anyway, but went to take him down, and Jack Jenkins hurt his arm. So, like, if Pat Sabatini can't just run through you in the grappling, what is he going to go out there and just brutally chin Mariscal, who's a dog, who's super durable, who's willing to brawl? And I think Mariscal is the better boxer, the cleaner kickboxer. So I think Pat Sabatini, like, he has to rely on a KO, like chinning him early, or has to rely on being able to out-grapple Mariscal. And I'm not banking on that. I think Mariscal is very, very good. He's very well-rounded. He's been around for a while. He has a lot of experience. I know Pat Sabatini's been around for a while as well. But also, he's a little bit younger, too. 33 years old versus 35. I know that doesn't mean everything. They're around the same height. They have the same reach. I think if you pick Sabatini in this matchup, you have to bank on Sabatini just being able to maul him in the grappling. And I do think Sabatini will probably have a size advantage because Mariscal isn't really that big for featherweight. Honestly, maybe could make bantamweight. But I'm not going to bank on Sabatini. It's not like Chepe has shown a deficiency in his grappling. He's offensively grappled in a lot of these fights. So I'm going to pick Chepe Mariscal to get it done. Does he finish Sabatini? If he does, I see it being like a late second round or third round finish. But I'm going to say decision win. I think Pat Sabatini's decently durable. I know Diego finished him, but Chepe doesn't have the power like of a Diego Lopez. So I'm going to pick Chepe Mariscal. I think it's really going to start going downhill for Pat Sabatini the later the fight goes. And I think he's going to be shooting desperation takedowns and getting butchered on the feet as the fight goes on. But I think early is when Pat Sabatini has to find a takedown, find a sub, find a big shot on the feet. But I'm not going to bank on that. So I'm going Chepe Mariscal. I'm going to say 29-28 decision win. Next fight on the card, we have Kyle Daukaus versus Gerald Meerschaert. Look, Kyle Daukaus returned, got a KO over Michel Pereira, who was vastly overrated, okay? You know, he was in the UFC prior, lost a couple fights, left the UFC, won a couple fights outside the UFC, came back, got the KO over Michel Pereira. Talk about a horrible, like, it wasn't like an easy entry back into the UFC against Pereira. And you have Gerald Meerschaert, who's a guy who's kind of hit or miss, but lately he's been missing. He's lost his last 3 fights, got KO'd by Mikhail Olushechek, beat up by Brad Tavares, lost to RDR, got subbed by RDR. He's 37 years old. I'm not banking on Gerald Meerschaert beating a surgeon Kyle Daukaus. Kyle Daukaus has really good kickboxing. You know, it's all relative, but you get my point. Compared to Gerald Meerschaert, Kyle Daukaus has really good kickboxing. He seemed to have benefit from that time outside the UFC. And I think Kyle Daukaus, like, Gerald Meerschaert is stuck in the mud. His striking is not that good. Matter of fact, you know what? 38 years old, got KO'd in his last fight, stuck in the mud. Daukaus KO and Pereira in his last fight. I'm going to pick Daukaus via KO. I'm going to say he KOs Gerald Meerschaert. And Meerschaert just gets slower and slower as the rounds go on. So I'm going to say second round KO for Daukaus. I was going to pick Daukaus via decision, but I'm going to switch to KO. Just too young, too fast, too athletic. Meerschaert's not going to be able to just ragdoll him to the ground. There's always the chance if Meerschaert hurts him, he could latch up a sub. That's what he's done a lot in the past. I think that's what he did against Shabazi and submitted Brian Barberena as well. Gerald Meerschaert's known for submission, but let me look at this record. 37-20. It's not that crazy to go out on a limb and say, I think he's going to lose one more, okay? He loses damn near half his fights, okay? So, yeah, I'm going to go Kyle Daukaus to get it done. I just think he's younger, faster, more athletic. I don't see Gerald Meerschaert looks slow as shit. Every single fight, I'm like, damn, is this dude still fighting? He looks punch drunk. So I'm going to go Kyle Daukaus, second round KO. I was going to originally pick him decision because Meerschaert has shown to be kind of, you know, gritty, but KO'd in his last fight, 3-fight losing streak. Kyle Daukaus surging, looking better than ever. I'm going to pick Kyle Daukaus to get it done via KO in the second round. Next fight on the card. We're actually out of the early prelims now, the prelims. We got Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cody Haddon. It's actually a banger matchup. Cody Haddon's really solid, but he's been out for a while. Hasn't fought since October of last year. Fought Dan Argueta. He's a very interesting prospect. Has decent takedown defense. Has really solid striking. Is fast on the feet. I just think Wellmaker is incredible, man. And maybe this is another guy getting a bit overrated for beating kind of bums. KO'd Chris Montino. KO'd Cameron Simon. Coming off Dana White's Contender Series where he KO'd Adam Bramheld. I think is how you pronounce his name. So maybe that's the case. I think there's no doubt this is the toughest test of Wellmaker's career. And I don't think it's crazy if you say, you know what, I'm going to pick Cody Haddon. He's really good on the feet. He's not going to overextend. He's not going to get clipped up by Wellmaker. There's a chance. There's a chance. But I have to go Wellmaker, man. He's looked incredible. It's going to be on the feet. And I just think Wellmaker has more power. And I don't think, I don't see Haddon being like such a superior striker. And I think that in this fight, if they're landing close to the same amount of time, and I don't even think that's going to be the case, I think Wellmaker has better movement, has better head movement. I think he's slicker overall on the feet, and he has more power. I see Wellmaker getting a KO here. You know, maybe that's crazy. And maybe that's buying into the hype a little bit. I'm trying to think who I want to compare this to. Who was another guy that was kind of getting hyped up? Man, I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, but he lost to Hani Barcelos. Peyton Talbot. I don't know how I forgot his name. I feel like Wellmaker could be the next Peyton Talbot a bit. Slick on the feet, KOing kind of scrubby dudes, getting hyped up, and then boom, he fights decent opposition in Cody Haddon, and he could lose. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Wellmaker will do good on the feet. Even if he can't find the KO, I think he'll win a decision. He'll just do the more damaging, land the more damaging shots. And Cody Haddon's not going to try to take him down. I don't think Wellmaker's going to try to implement the wrestling against Haddon. Haddon showed good takedown defense against Dan Argueta, who actually has good takedowns. So I'm going to pick Wellmaker to get it done. I'm going to say second round KO. Cody Haddon, I watched back that Dan Argueta fight, and again, he's fighting Dan Argueta, so it's not the same as if he's fighting Wellmaker. He's not going to have the same strategy. Kind of swinging, wild, winging shots. I think Wellmaker can find openings, crack him on the chin, and probably put him away. And I think Wellmaker knows that he's on a big pay-per-view card. There's a lot of eyeballs on the prelims. Let me go out there and get a highlight reel KO. Well, you might even see a Wellmaker that's kind of clip farming a little bit. Yeah, I really could see that. Kind of like CLD last week. I felt like, oh man, he's looking for that crazy KO. I think Wellmaker could start feeling that second round and probably find a kill shot, drop him, TKO, ground and pound shots. I'm going Malcolm Wellmaker, second round KO. Next fight on the card, we have Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez 2. I believe Tracy Cortez won the original fight. It was a while ago. I think Blanchfield wins this fight. I know Cortez has good grappling, and Blanchfield's primary strength is grappling, but I don't think Cortez is that good. I think she's here. I don't even think she's here to be the best. I don't think she's here to be even one of the best. I think she's here to kind of simp farm the UFC audience. She's wearing fake eyelashes during the fight, which is absolutely crazy. Okay, she beat Viviane Araújo in her last fight, who's a straight up, 40-something-year-old kind of scrubby fight. Not horrible. I mean, honestly, she's not horrible. Lost to Rose Namajunas in the fight before that. Blanchfield coming off a win over Rose Namajunas. I know MMA math doesn't always work. Lost to Manon Fior. Tracy Cortez is not a Manon Fior on the feet. So I just think Blanchfield will win this fight. I think Blanchfield's working on her striking. I could see a scenario, though, where Cortez stuffs the takedowns, because Cortez does have a wrestling base as well. Could stuff the takedowns and win on the feet. But I think Blanchfield has improved vastly since their first fight. I think she's better probably everywhere. Maybe not on the feet. It's probably pretty close to being equal on the feet. So I'm going to pick Blanchfield to get it done via decision. I think she's fought better opposition too. Beat Talia Santos, beat Jessica Andrade. Okay, Molly McCann's a scrub, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, Viviane Araújo. Okay, she beat Jasmine Jadavicius. That's actually a decent win. Melissa Gatto before that. Justine Kish. Comment down below if you know what I just thought of. I'm not even going to say, but comment down below if you know what I just thought of. And that was 5 years ago. So we got 5 fights in 5 years for Tracy Cortez. Meanwhile, you got 5 fights in under 3 years for Erin Blanchfield. She's more active. I think she's the better overall grappler. I don't know if she subs her, because Tracy Cortez is pretty good on the ground as well. But I'm going to pick Blanchfield to get it done. I'm going to say unanimous decision win. Maybe a close 29-28 decision win for Erin Blanchfield, where she just grapples just enough. Cortez isn't great on the feet. I think it'll be competitive on the feet. I think Blanchfield will have some control time against the fence, get her down. Maybe Cortez will work her way back to the feet. Blanchfield will hunt for a sub. And I think Blanchfield will just edge her out in grappling control time. Next fight on the card, we have Roman Khabibulov versus Gregory Rodriguez. This is a tough fight too. I believed in both of these guys at one point in time. Not that they were going to be champions, but I just believed overall they were really solid middleweight prospects. And now, like, everything has changed because Roman Khabibulov got bullied by Paulo Costa in the last fight and looked like dog shit in that fight. And then you have Gregory Rodriguez 2 fights ago showing up with 1 round of fucking cardio against Jared Cannonier. How do you show up with 1 round of cardio? I know since then he came back, got a KO against Jack Hermanson. I picked Jack Hermanson to beat him. And Jack Hermanson was schooling him before he got KO'd. It's a nasty KO, by the way. This is a tricky middleweight matchup to pick because Gregory Rodriguez definitely has the power advantage, definitely has the advantage in finishing ability, but Khabibulov is the better overall kickboxer. Rodriguez has the grappling advantage, but does he really push the pace and like try to out-grapple Khabibulov similar to what Fluffy Hernandez did? I don't know. I really don't know. Khabibulov beat Chris Curtis in a fight that it seemed like he was fading and going to lose, and then he got the KO late, which probably would have stolen the fight anyway, if I'm remembering correctly. Beat Cesar Almeida, split decision, kickboxing with him. Lost to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who pushed the pace with the grappling. I feel like I've counted on Khabibulov too many times. I think I picked him in all his last few fights. I've counted on him way too many times, and he's lost. And also, I think Gregory Rodriguez, not only does he have the power on the feet, I think he has that ability to mix in the grappling as well. And it's not like Khabibulov is known for his cardio. Like Jared Cannonier, I know he's not known for his cardio, but you all know Jared Cannonier is not going to gas. He can go a hard 5 rounds with heavy output. And it's like Gregory Rodriguez thought he found the finish early, kind of gassed out after looking for the finish. It's not. I think if Gregory Rodriguez has that moment against Khabibulov, I don't know if Khabibulov's going to recover from that and come back and win. So I'm going to pick Gregory Rodriguez to get it done. Does he KO Khabibulov? Probably not. I'm going to say not. I think if you're picking Gregory Rodriguez to win this fight via finish, I think you probably pick him on the ground via sub. Like Fluffy Hernandez got the rear naked choke. And I just don't... you never know. Rodriguez has the touch of death. That is true. He does have the touch of death. But I'm going to pick Gregory Rodriguez. I'm going to say decision win. I'm going to say he mixes in the grappling, but he's not able... I think he's going to be... He doesn't have the Fluffy Hernandez cardio to really push like a crazy grappling pace and then eventually hunt that sub, like wear out Khabibulov and sub him. And I think that Rodriguez is going to mix in that grappling for sure. Maybe land a couple big shots on the feet and then shoot in on a takedown. And I think that's how Rodriguez is going to win the fight. Just mixing in the grappling because he has an advantage in the grappling. And also Khabibulov is going to be a little bit tentative on the feet because of the power of Gregory Rodriguez. And so I think Gregory Rodriguez ultimately will win a decision. And I think it'll be a close competitive fight. But again, both their weaknesses kind of is their cardio. So it's not like I'm going to say, oh, I'm worried about Gregory Rodriguez gassing because Khabibulov gets tired as well. And I think Gregory Rodriguez has way more paths to victory in this fight. He could KO him. He could sub him. And he can win a decision. And it's only a 3-round fight. I can't believe Rodriguez showed up with 1 round of cardio to a 5-round fight. And, also you look back, Gregory Rodriguez beat CLD. That's a great aging win. Beat Brad Tavares, KO'd him. Beat Dennis Tululin. Okay, those aren't great wins. But Khabibulov damn near losing against Chris Curtis. Split decision Cesar Almeida. Lost to Fluffy. Beat Josh Frem, who's not very good at all. Khabibulov does have a nasty body kick, but I think Rodriguez would eat it. Rodriguez has a blockhead chin as well. So I don't think Rodriguez would get finished. So I'm going to go Gregory Rodriguez. I'm going to say decision win, but I could see him also winning via like a rear naked choke or maybe an arm triangle after maybe hurting him on the feet, taking him down, or following him to the ground and immediately locking up a sub on a dazed Khabibulov. Like if I was going to pick finish, I'd probably go like 2nd round arm triangle for Gregory Rodriguez. But I'm going to say decision. I'm going to say decision win for Gregory Rodriguez. Next fight on the card, the featured prelim, we have Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. This is a tricky matchup. I've been debating about this one. I've been really debating about this one. Rodolfo Vieira has improved, man. This is like, I think this might be the best possible fighter right now that Bo could probably beat. Because Rodolfo Vieira, he wants to grapple, but his striking has gotten better. He's coming off a win against Trey Shangur. Before that, lost to Andre Petrosky, who was calling out Bo Nickel forever. Bo Nickel's coming off that fight where he quit against RDR. And I really want to pick against Bo. But I'm just looking at the match. I'm like, you know what? Bo is kind of slick on the feet. Okay, not slick on the feet. Slick on the feet in comparison to Vieira. Faster on the feet in comparison to Vieira. Better striking in comparison to Vieira. Probably. We haven't seen a lot. It's hard to really gauge Bo because most of the guys that he's fought are literal scrubs outside of the guy he lost to. I mean, Paul Craig. He's going to decision with Paul Craig. You know what? He's fighting tooth and nail to go to decision with Paul Craig. He gets shucked off by Bumdage. He KO'd Val Woodburn, but Val Woodburn's a scrub. Beat Jamie Pickett, had a knee him in the groin. You know what? I'm picking Rodolfo Vieira. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to sit here and kick myself in the ass because I'm like, oh, well, this is reverse bias because I think, oh, I hate Bo and I want him to lose, so now I'm picking against him. But I'm just thinking about it. I mean, Rodolfo Vieira, his striking has improved. I don't think Bo's striking is all that good. Like, maybe he's probably faster than Vieira, but is he going to KO Vieira? I don't think so. Vieira's hard to finish. And I think Vieira is better at grappling than a Paul Craig. Maybe not overall submission threat, but maybe. But I think Vieira has better wrestling. And look what RDR was doing. Vieira's going to go out there and try to implement that same game plan. He's going to try to get in the clinch. He's going to try to abuse the body of Bo Nickel. Penn State locker room, Bo Nickel. Okay? And I think I'm picking Rodolfo Vieira. Initially, I was thinking, you know what? I was thinking Bo's probably going to be faster on the feet. He'll probably stuff the takedowns and win a shitty decision win like he did against Paul Craig. I think Vieira is better and better than Craig. And I think Vieira is improving still, even at 36 years old. And I don't think Bo can wrestle Vieira. I don't think Bo can go out there and outgrowl. I don't think he's going to want to. I think he's going to be worried about the jiu-jitsu. And also, this is factoring into my pick. And this is kind of what was moving, what my wheels were going in my head right there. I think Bo was mentally broken. I think he is mentally broken after RDR walked him down and treated him like a little bitch in his last fight. And I think he's terrified of losing a second in a row. He's already out there doing some wrestling shit. I think Bo's already kind of mentally checked out. He's been a spoiled little bitch his entire career. He got that step up in opposition. He got shut down by RDR, who then quit in his next fight. RDR made him quit, and then RDR went on to quit. Okay? No, not in his next fight. He beat Robert Whittaker, but then he quit after that. I think Bo is going to be shitting his britches. I think he's going to be really nervous. Now, could that mean he has the most spectacular performance of all time and KOs Vieira? Sure. I don't think so. I think if Bo wins this fight, it's just him being a little bit faster on the feet, winning a decision that's going to be similar to the Paul Craig fight that he thought he did. He had a phenomenal fucking performance against Paul Craig. I think he's broken. I think his confidence is shook. I think he realizes the end of his career in the UFC is near. He is the Penn State version of a Sage Northcutt. He is the Penn State version of a Paige Van Zandt. He was a Dana White pet project. And once he got that step up against RDR and quit, it's not like they could drop him all the way down to trash cans. And now he's got to fight Rodolfo Vieira, who's very good on the ground, who's strong in the clinch, whose striking appears to be getting better. And so I'm going to pick Rodolfo Vieira. I'm going to pick Rodolfo Vieira to get it done. I'm going to say decision win for Rodolfo Vieira. Maybe Bo hangs in there, doesn't quit. But I think Vieira is going to take that same RDR game plan, and I think he's going to abuse the body. I think he's going to look for takedowns. He may even find a takedown on Bo. Because Bo, and I hate this expression, but Bo does not like to get hit. And you make it a dirty, gritty fight, and you push him against the fence, and you show that you're not worried about his little Penn State wrestling and his fucking participation trophies. Well, not really, but you get my point. If you show you're not scared of his Penn State wrestling, I think he's going to fold. I think his parents bought him a King Ranch in high school, and he's been a privileged little bitch ever since then. And they probably said, oh, the RDR fight, it wasn't your fault, Bo. You did the best you could, man. You won that fight. RDR cheated. He's a dirty cheat. They probably made up some excuse. He's so much bigger than you, Bo. Rodolfo Vieira is massive. Massive. It wouldn't shock me if we see Vieira with a sub. It wouldn't shock me if we see Bo quit again. So I know I just kind of changed my path on this prediction rather quickly, but I'm picking Rodolfo Vieira over Bo Nickel. I'm picking him to get it done. I'm going to say decision win. Maybe almost gets Bo out of there with like a sub towards the end of the second round, but the bell rings as he's locking up an arm triangle or a rear naked choke. I'm picking Vieira to abuse this man in the clinch and expose Penn State wrestling for what it is. Rodolfo Vieira, unanimous decision victory against bummy Bo Nickel, who got demoted to the prelims. Next fight on the card, Opening up the main card, we have Beneil Dariush versus Benoît Saint-Denis. Now, this was a bit of a contrarian opinion at the time. I think BSD is better than Renato Moicano. Now, I know that doesn't mean much coming from Dariush because Dariush just beat Moicano and BSD didn't beat Moicano. So if you want to do a little bit MMA math, you pick Dariush. I picked Dariush to beat Moicano. A lot of people weren't picking that. But I think BSD, he was overrated and then he was massively underrated. And that's by me and the fan base. He lost that fight against Moicano. I think he thought he could power out of positions in the grappling against Moicano, and he ended up absorbing too much damage rather than trying to be a little bit more conservative and just living to fight another day because he's in a really bad position against a fresh Moicano. And I think that's what really cost him that fight. Against Dustin Poirier, he did very well, gassed out, kind of looking for a finish. Also, he had staph infection. It is what it is. But Dustin Poirier, the elite of the elite. Since then, beat Kyle Prepelec, which wasn't the greatest win. Kind of looked mediocre early. But then came out against Mauricio Houfi and walked him down and embarrassed him and abused him and finished him. But Beneil Dariush is 36 years old, but he looks 50. And he looks 50 visually, and he looks 50 in the cage. And while I understand people are probably saying, well, Dariush beat Moicano and Moicano beat the dog shit out of BSD. No. Matchups make fights. And Dariush was able to thwart the grappling of Moicano and kind of pepper him on the feet and win the fight that way. Where BSD kind of, I think it was bad fight IQ. I would pick BSD to beat Moicano in a rematch right now, today, tomorrow, next week. And I think you look at Dariush, he's 36, but again, he's stuck. I've been saying this for a long time. Everyone was picking him to beat Charles Oliveira. I'm like, dude, he's stuck in the mud. Dariush is very, very good, but he's slow. Outside of his like body kicks, which are really good. And he has good head kicks as well. BSD, not that I don't think he's going to need to grapple. BSD is nasty on the feet. Dariush is kind of crafty on the feet as well. And I think Dariush is actually really good everywhere. I know it sounds like I'm shitting on him. It's just he's too slow and not as athletic. And I think BSD is going to go out there and get this one done. I don't know if he gets Dariush out of there. I know Dariush's last two losses were KO. Arman lost to Arman via KO, where he got brutalized out cold there. Lost to Oliveira via KO. Nasty ground and pound. You know what? I was thinking maybe going BSD via decision, but he went out there and got Houfi out of there. I think BSD is going to go out there and look to get a statement win here and really put himself back in the conversation at lightweight, which is crazy, man. I don't know how long Topuria is going to stick around, but if BSD can reel off like 2 more wins if he beats Dariush, he's right up there in the title picture. Like he was when he fought Dustin Poirier. Didn't beat him, but fought him. I'm going to pick Saint-Denis to get it done. I'm going to say he KOs Dariush in the second round. I feel like I always pick second round. You know what? I'm going to pick BSD late first round KO. I think Dariush is just slow, man. He's just slow. He's just stuck in the mud. And BSD's fast. He's young. He's athletic. He's not going to get like brutally out-grappled by Dariush. I think he's grown from that loss against Moicano. And I think he comes out here looking for a statement. I think he walks Dariush down. I think he finds big shots. I think he cracks Dariush. And I think Dariush's chin is getting worse with age. And he's got finished in 2 of his last 3 fights. I know it's against elite opposition. He's taken some decent time off after those fights. Came back, got a win against Moicano. But I think BSD really stakes his claim to like an elite lightweight with a win over Beneil Dariush. I'm going to go late first round head kick KO for BSD. I am. I really am. And I can see him winning a decision as well. I don't see how Dariush really wins this fight. I just think he's too slow. I know I keep coming back to that. People are probably tired of hearing it in this breakdown. I just think he's too slow. And Dariush doesn't have like that elite offensive grappling threat. Not that he doesn't have it. Not that he doesn't have offensive grappling. But I just don't, like, he's never really implemented that heavy game plan. And I'm just thinking back to Dariush against like a Jakar Close, getting rocked badly, came back and won. That could happen. Dariush has okay power. I don't think it's, the doctor had to stop it against Moicano, and Moicano was bashing his brains in. I think BSD still has a good chin, and I think Dariush is getting up there in age. I think he's on the decline. I think he's slowing down. I think BSD has nasty body kicks as well. And I see Saint-Denis, I see him like cracking him with a head kick. He did it against Matt Favola. I see him cracking Dariush with the head kick. I see BSD going out there trying to walk him down a bit, trying to get aggressive, trying to be the god of war. And I think he's going to get cracked a couple times. I even see a bloody nose for BSD in this fight. But I think he's going to find that late first round head kick, put Dariush down badly, maybe even a little bit of a late stoppage as BSD hovers over top of him, landing brutal ground and pound. I'm picking BSD late first round KO. But I think BSD could win even if it goes to decision. I think BSD is going to have good, really solid cardio as well. Next fight up the card, we have Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. Here's where it really gets good, boys. Oh my God, this main card is amazing. This is a really solid, this is must win for Leon Edwards. This is must win. 2-fight losing streak, got dumped on his bald spot by Belal Muhammad. And Belal did that maliciously too, okay? Then gets mauled by Sean Brady. But to be fair, Leon was supposed to fight JDM. He got Sean Brady on short notice. I think people are underrating Leon now. And I was screaming from the rooftops forever. People were overrating Leon. Now I feel like people are underrating Leon. And I told you guys, Carlos Prates, his last fight, he went out there, brutally KO'd Jeff Neal. Fair enough, that's a good win. Fight before that, got schooled by Ian Machado. Gary got schooled by him. Gary stepped in on short notice, so that you have to take that a little bit with a grain of salt. Prates was massively overrated going into that fight, man. Carlos is a nasty, like Muay Thai style striker, but Leon Edwards is very technical on the feet, has decent grappling. I know it doesn't seem like it because Belal and Sean Brady absolutely mauled him, but Edwards' grappling, I think, is better than Prates. I think he can mix in the grappling against Prates. We've seen Gary do it. We've seen Gary do it against Prates. And I know Prates had a couple moments in the 5th round that people are like, oh my God, it was so great. They're giving him a participation trophy for it because they hate Gary. I can't forget that fight. How can I forget Gary schooling him on the feet and in the grappling and just completely forget that and pretend like, oh, he's going to beat Leon Edwards because Belal and Brady did? I think Belal would wreck Prates. I think Brady would wreck Prates as well. Prates just has a flashy, nasty, striking ability with the KO ability, and I feel like people overrated a bit. You think he's going to KO Leon? Who's even cracking Leon hard on the chin? I mean, I guess Brady did a couple, but that was because of the threat of the grappling. Brady and Belal were landing. They weren't really cracking him, but they were landing on the chin because they had the threat of the grappling. This is the first fight in years. In many, many, many years. I mean, in the last 5 fights, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Belal Muhammad, Sean Brady, Leon Edwards. I'm not even a big fan of Leon. Say what you will. He's fought like the murderer's row of grapplers in the welterweight division. This is the first time he doesn't have that threat. He has a full camp for Prates. Now, there is an argument to be made, and I'm still going back and forth here, that I think Belal stole Leon's soul that night when he dumped him on his bald spot maliciously. I think there's an argument to be made that Leon's soul got stolen by Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad has it somewhere. But this is must win for Leon. He's a former champion. We're going to bank on Prates just because he KO'd Jeff Neal. Not that that's not a good win. I don't think Prates goes out there and chins Edwards. I think the way Edwards loses this fight is just kind of being inactive and being a slow starter. But I think he knows he needs this win. He doesn't have to worry about the takedown threat. And I think he can kind of pick Prates apart at range. So I'm going to stick with Leon Edwards. I'm going to pick Leon Edwards. I may end up regretting this pick. But what is Prates? I mean, imagine Prates goes out there and chins him. Prates' striking isn't anything. It's good, but it's not so elite that I don't think Leon can figure it out. Now, granted, counterpoint is Leon Edwards hasn't fought like a really, really solid striker in a while. Not that you guys get what I'm saying. I hope you guys do, because those guys were good strikers, but it was because, they counted on their grappling. But I think Leon, this is the first time Leon has to go out there in a while, not worry about the takedown threat. I think Leon can mix in the takedown threat. Took down Kamaru Usman. I know it was in a funky position. Took down Colby multiple times. And this isn't a 5-round fight. So I think as long as Leon is motivated, puts his kind of foot on the gas a little bit more, I could see him just sticking straight punches as Prates tries to just kind of walk in with his Muay Thai stance, tries to chop the legs, and I think Leon Edwards is going to win the decision. I'm picking Leon Edwards to get it done, decision win. I think Prates is getting overrated again because he had that highlight reel KO against Jeff Neal. I'm not banking on Prates to KO Leon Edwards. No way, no how. I think Leon's in a must-win. He doesn't have to fight an elite grappler. I think this is the fight. If I was Leon's corner, if I was Leon's motivational speaker, don't let him bully your son. You got to pull this out of the fire, Leon. This is the fight I would have campaigned for. A guy with a lot of hype who's primarily a striker who isn't particularly tricky. So I know Prates is kind of riding momentum a bit. I know Leon's kind of in the toilet right now. But I think Leon gets it done. I'm picking Leon to get it done. I'm going to say 29-28 decision win for Leon Edwards. But a banger welterweight matchup. And I could see Prates catching him. But I'm not going to bank on Prates catching him on the chin or schooling him on the feet. I just don't see it. I think Leon can get him down if he wants to. And it's only a 3-round fight. So Leon, we know he has 5-round cardio. Even came back a little bit in the end of the Bilal fight. So I'm picking Leon Edwards to get it done via decision over Carlos Prates. I'm not ready to fully bank on Prates being an elite level striker against a super well-rounded Leon Edwards, who's kind of on the downslope right now. So I got Edwards via decision, maybe a little bit of an unpopular pick. I'm going to pick Edwards via decision. Next fight on the card, we have another banger welterweight matchup. Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. I've been going back and forth on this one as well. Man. This is the epitome of kind of striker versus grappler. But Morales doesn't have bad grappling. I mean, Magny was able to hold him against the cage, but Magny got in decent positions to kind of initiate the takedown and wasn't able to find him. And then Morales broke out of the clinch and spinning elbowed him and damn near finished him off of that. Not really, but you kind of get my point. If Morales can keep this standing, man, he schools Brady. Brady's striking is not that great. He ran through Leon because he was able to out-grapple him. He didn't run through Gilbert. I think I actually picked Gilbert. That wasn't a great pick. That was a close fight. It was a closer fight than people remember. Beat Kelvin Gastelum. Lost to Bilal Muhammad. Wasn't able to get the takedown going. Got schooled on the feet a bit there. Well, did all right early, actually, and then got cracked and then basically quit after that. Beat Michael Chiesa, but let's not forget he gassed out in that fight. And in the third round, almost damn near got finished by Chiesa. Man, this is a hell of a matchup. Morales coming off a KO against Gilbert Burns. Basically, had Gilbert quitting in there. KO'd Neil Magny. Beat Jake Matthews. Beat Max Griffin. Beat Adam Fugit. 18-0. 26 years old. Super athletic. Super dynamic on the feet. And you point to me in a fight where it's like, oh, Morales has shown dog shit grappling. He's taller. He's longer. He's 2 inches taller. He has a 6.5-inch reach advantage. If Brady can't maul him, he's fucked on the feet. I mean, there is a chance you see Brady take him down, just maul him on the ground. There's a chance. But man, I think if Morales has a couple moments on the feet, I don't think Morales is not a Kelvin Gastelum out of his prime. Morales is not a Gilbert Burns out of his prime. Morales is not a Leon Edwards who's kind of ran into some trouble with his grappling against elite level grapplers. Right now, I don't have the evidence to say for sure that Sean Brady's going to go out there and maul him. Because that's the take. If you're picking Sean Brady, you're like, oh, Sean Brady's just going to out-grapple him. He's going to blow through him. When have we seen that happen to Morales? I know he hasn't fought the level of grappler of Sean Brady, but I'll tell you this. I know for a fact if it stays standing, Brady is going to get fucked up on the feet. I really think that. If it stays standing, Morales is going to dog him on the feet. And I could even see Brady coming out, shooting a takedown, getting Morales down, controlling him for a bit, but not able to really do much with it. Morales scrambling up against the fence, and then boom, crack him with like a two-piece, hurt Brady or bust him up and win the round that way. I really see a fight where Morales... You know those fights where you have a grappler versus a striker? You clearly have a grappling advantage for one guy, striking advantage for another. And like every time the striker gets up off bottom, you're kind of like, oh shit, you're feeling like that moment's going to I feel like that's what this fight is going to be. Like Morales will get taken down, but he'll be able to work his way back to his feet. And then if you're like rooting for Sean Brady, or you're just like, watching the fight in anticipation of what's going to happen, you're like, oh shit, is Morales going to clip him? I'm going to pick Michael Morales to get it done. It simply comes down to this. I'm not sure that Sean Brady can absolutely maul him in the way that he did to Leon Edwards, who took that fight on short notice. I'm not sure that he can maul him in the way that he took down Gilbert Burns and he mauled Kelvin Gastelum and subbed Kelvin Gastelum. And I know for a fact if Morales is on the feet, he's super dangerous. Crazy long reach advantage. Just super dynamic. Has KO ability from anywhere. Go back and watch the way he dropped Neil Magny in the first round with the spinning elbow out of the clinch. Morales is too dynamic, has nasty finishing ability. I haven't seen the case that says, you know what? I think Morales gets absolutely mauled. He's 26 years old. I know Brady's in his prime, but we've seen Brady on the feet, and it's just not that good. And I think this is a really dangerous fight for Brady. And I think Brady has to get the takedown. He knows it. Morales knows it. And I could even see like another Jorge Masvidal style KO, like a Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren KO. Because Morales knows it's coming. I think he's going to be feinting the uppercut. I think he's going to be feinting the knees. And I think he could find one of those shots. He could see Brady getting ready to shoot, getting ready to level change. Boom, jumping knee. Flatline Sean Brady with a flying knee. And then really stake a claim to a title shot, honestly. If he gets a crazy win that gets like the attention like a Jorge Masvidal, I know it's not going to be the same as that. But I'm just saying that level of brutality. I'm going to pick Michael Morales to get it done. I'm going to pick him via KO. I think on the feet, unless Brady just takes him down, shuts him down, and subs him immediately, I think on the feet, Morales has a chance at all times. And I think Brady's going to be terrified on the feet. And I think Morales gets it done. I'm going to pick Michael Morales. I'm going to say mid-second round KO. Catches Brady as Brady's trying to come in to set up a takedown, maybe even shooting a takedown, catches a knee, and gets brutally finished. I'm going to say second round brutal KO for Michael Morales. Next fight on the card, the co-main event. We have Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang. I've been back and forth. Early lean was Shevchenko. But Shevchenko and them crusty ass lips, I feel like she's on the decline. Had to fight Grasso 3 times to get a fucking win. I picked Manenfior to beat her in the last fight. She beat Manenfior, but it was pretty competitive. Weili Zhang's kind of small though, moving up in weight. How does she look? Look. Damn, so what I do before I do these videos, I go on Tapology and I make tentative picks. And then as I'm going through the video and breaking it down in my head, I kind of switch up picks. I'm switching a lot of picks up today. Because I have Shevchenko by decision. I'm going to go Weili. I'm going to pick Weili Zhang. I know you could argue and say Weili's on the decline as well, but up 10 pounds, her grappling's really, really solid. So unless you're banking on a size advantage for Shevchenko, that's what I was kind of thinking before. Shevchenko, size advantage, going to be able to out-grapple her. Weili's super athletic. She's a ball of muscle. I don't know if Shevchenko's going to be able to out-grapple her and keep her down the way she was able to take down Grasso. Tatiana Suarez has all these, people are like, oh, her wrestling's so good she wasn't able to take down Zhang and hold her down. And Weili not having to cut weight, not having to diminish herself a little bit, I think she's the far superior striker. And it's not like it's a crazy reach advantage. You got a 2.5-inch reach advantage for Shevchenko, which is decent. 1-inch height advantage. I'm picking Weili Zhang. I've believed Weili Zhang is like one of the best women's fighters for many, many years. And I think Shevchenko's on more of a decline and slowing down and kind of plateauing. And I think Zhang is just going to be more athletic, faster on the feet, being able to stuff the takedown. I think Shevchenko is going to default to the grappling in this fight. And I think in the grappling, I think Zhang will be able to scramble out of bad positions. If she does get taken down, she'll be able to get back up. And I think on the feet, Weili is just going to be faster, which is going to lead to her landing more shots on Valentina Shevchenko. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I don't think I said it. So for the flyweight title, just in case you guys don't know. I mean, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you know that. But Weili Zhang could become a 2-division champion. Isn't that crazy? We got 2 people going for 2nd division titles on UFC 322. I think if Valentina wins, I think it's using a size advantage and out grappling her. I can't sell myself on that narrative. I really can't sell myself on that narrative. I think Valentina, she's not drinking water during training sessions. Her lips are crusty as hell. I think she probably just thinks her shit doesn't stink, and I think she thinks, oh, I don't got to change anything. Like, she's having super competitive fights with Grasso. I think Weili Zhang would beat Grasso. That'd be actually an interesting matchup in the future just because Grasso has pretty solid boxing. Grasso was winning on the feet against Shevchenko. And yeah, Weili has been caught with a head kick against Rose Namajunas and got KO'd and lost her title there. And Shevchenko does have good head kicks. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Weili's going to have a significant speed and athleticism advantage in this fight. I think she'll be able to avoid the takedowns. And I think on the feet, Shevchenko isn't what she once was. And you know what I'm really tired of, and this has nothing to do with my pick, is anyone else tired of seeing like countdowns with Valentina Shevchenko shooting fucking guns? Oh my God, that shit is so tired and played out. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be on a couple embeddeds or something. So yeah, I'm going to pick Weili Zhang, 2 years younger as well. That's not to be understated. Damn near 38 years old for Valentina, 36 years old for Weili. Roughly the same size. Weili now not having to cut weight. Shevchenko having competitive fights in all of her last few four. How was the top? Oh, never mind. That was Talia Santos fight. I thought that was crazy. Never mind. I was confusing 2 fights there. But you look at her last few fights. I mean, Menefior fight was pretty competitive. The Grasso fights, not the last one, but the other 2 fights were pretty competitive. She got submitted in one of them. And then even the Talia Santos fight was a split decision. Arguably, some people thought she lost that fight. Where Weili Zhang beat Tatiana Suarez easily. Beat Yan Xiaonan, choked her out. Should have been a finish in the first round. Jason Herzog investigated him. Beat Amanda Lemos. Beat Carla Esparza. That's when she won back the title. Finish Joanna. Like, a lot of Weili fights haven't really been super close. Where Valentina, you can see a clear decline. You can see her diminishing. You can see her slowing down. Whether that's her just getting comfortable and plateauing or what, I'm going to say Weili Zhang gets it done. I'm going to say decision win, competitive fight, 48-47 decision win. Could even see a 49-46 decision win for Weili Zhang to win the women's flyweight title. Main event time, boys. Main event time. We have Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title. This is a very, very interesting matchup. Oh my god, I love this fight. I absolutely love this main event. Can Islam save the division from no personality, no Instagram followers, no pay-per-view sales, JDM? That is sarcasm. That's what a lot of people say about like guys like Islam. My analysis for this fight is going to sound like I'm shitting on JDM, but I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I think JDM is a very good fighter. But I'm looking back and I'm like, you know what? The Beneil fight. Like, I think JDM deserves a lot of praise for that fight. That was primarily striking against Beneil. And that was a very close fight. People acted like it was more dominant than it actually was. Beneil really didn't try to grapple heavily in that fight. And when he did, he was able to get a takedown, but he wasn't able to hold it. I get it. That's the whole point. You can't hold JDM down. He's got nasty scrambles. I'm going to get to that in a second. But I'm going to be honest, watching back that Beneil fight, and maybe this is a bit of a hot take, I think Beneil, like if you rematch them right now before Beneil kind of gets a little bit older and, you know, maybe takes more damage against like an Ian Machado Gary, I think Beneil probably wins that fight. Beneil was cool hanging out at range, striking with JDM. And he wanted to prove a point. There was no doubt about it. I know people say that narrative's crazy. Nonetheless, JDM got it done. But you look at the fight before that. Hail Mary KO against Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns was out grappling him. Fight before that, split decision win against Kevin Holland, who's a straight up scrub. Fight before that, split decision win over Basil Hafez. I thought Hafez won that fight. And Hafez out grappled him and pressured him. Fight before that, beat Randy Brown. Fair enough, Randy Brown isn't the top. So the best win on JDM's resume, the cleanest win on his resume, is standing at range in a kickboxing match with Belal Muhammad. And now he's supposed to beat Islam Makhachev. Now, I do see a scenario. Islam, and I haven't thought of the right way to put it in words. Islam sometimes, I don't know the words for it. On the feet, even though he's defensively responsible, I feel like sometimes he wades a little bit too much into danger. We've seen it against Dustin Poirier. And I feel like you could see a scenario where JDM cracks him, kind of wobbles him a bit, And then JDM has the takedown defense to kind of shuck off a hurt Islam. And then JDM has the volume and has the cardio to really go after him and use that killer instinct to finish Islam. Like we've seen JDM push hard late in the Beneil fight. We've seen him pull it out of the hat against Gilbert Burns when he's losing. But I'm looking at Islam, man, not having to cut weight, which I think he's going to come into this fight bigger and stronger than he's ever been. I do think JDM's probably going to have a little bit of a size advantage in this fight. We'll see. But, man, on the ground, it's just night and day difference, man. It's night and day difference. And I know, okay, he beat Moicano, who's a scrub. He subbed him. Look at what he treated him like a scrub. He treated him like a trash can. Darsh choked him with ease. Fight before that, finished Dustin Poirier in the 5th round. Outstruck. Like, I know people are glamorizing, oh, Dustin cut him open. And that was a nasty cut. But he was schooling Dustin on the feet in that fight. Fight before that, knocked out Volkanovski. Okay, it was on short notice. Forget about that. Fight before that, beat Volkanovski cleanly. I know people acted like it was a robbery. It was not. And, like, I feel like there's a lot of people pushing this narrative. Like, oh, man, whatever his name is. I forgot his name. I can picture his face. The grappling guy. They're like, oh, man, he's got the anti-Dagestani, secrets. I don't see that. I mean, Folk didn't get finished on the ground, but he got taken down. He has no neck. I think JDM's biggest strength in this fight and what a lot of people are looking forward to is going to be his undoing in this fight, because JDM doesn't really accept bad positions. He constantly tries to scramble. In those scrambles, he leaves himself vulnerable against an elite BJJ guy like Islam Makhachev, who is not just a BJJ guy, has nasty striking. Islam's striking on the feet, I think, is better than Belal's, significantly better than Belal's. And Belal's hanging out at range, going toe-to-toe with JDM, not even really mixing the grappling all that much, where JDM's not even worried about it. And they're just kind of going back and forth. I think Islam will mix it in perfectly. Islam has a very high fight IQ. I don't think he's going to pressure nonstop like Prime Habib. I don't think he's going to hang back like Belal did. But I think Islam on the feet, he's not just like out of his realm on the feet against JDM. It's not like, oh my God, JDM's going to be able to butcher him on the feet. And I think in this fight, I think JDM's going to be worried about the takedown. And I think the main thing JDM's going to prioritize, and he's done this previously in his career, but specifically against Islam, not settling. And I think in those transitional spaces, I think Islam is just too damn good. And I think you're going to see Islam get a trip, get a takedown. You're going to see JDM get to his knees and try to scramble up. And I think he's going to get caught in a bad position. I'm going to pick Islam Makhachev to get it done via submission. I think on the ground, I think Islam gets this done. And I think people are going to say, man, Islam's a freak at welterweight. How do you even cut weight to lightweight? I don't think JDM could have ever made lightweight. Islam did. And now it's not like you had like, oh, it was 2 months and Islam's randomly going up. This has kind of been known since May. So like Islam's had time to put on some size. And I think Islam can snatch up that sub. Like, look at the way he snatched up that sub against Dustin Poirier. We've seen him sub so many guys. And I know JDM's not been subbed in a long time. I don't have it in front of me right now. He's 18-2. He's on a crazy win streak, which is crazy. I mean, this is 2 of the longest win streaks maybe ever fighting each other for a title in the UFC. But I think Islam's going to find that neck. I think we're going to see another Darsh choke from Islam Makhachev. I think you're going to see a trip, a takedown, a scramble from JDM. I think he's going to be trying to make his way back to his feet. I think you're going to see like a back body lock takedown, tripping him down again. And I think you're going to see these positions. Islam's looking to find a moment. You're going to see, oh, look, he's trying to lock up a Darce, and JDM kind of shucks it off a little bit. And then Islam goes to the back. And I think in those transitional spaces, I think Islam's going to catch him in a sub. I really think the BJJ from Islam is just next level. And I think Islam's grappling overall is better than Belal's as well. Maybe his entries, I don't know. Belal has decent entries. But what I'm trying to say here is I think Islam has a massive grappling advantage, and I think he's going to use it. And I don't think he's out of his depth on the feet. I think the biggest way Islam could lose this fight is if he gets cracked early and then JDM doesn't take his foot off the gas. I think that's the way JDM wins. I could see like a JDM like TKO in the first couple rounds, or maybe even late as well if Islam gets tired from shooting takedowns. but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Islam will find positions where he can get control, like that back mount position that he can lock up, and then JDMs just keep trying to scramble and scramble and scramble, and I think Islam will flow with him well, and JDM will be the guy kind of getting tired there. And I think eventually he will make a mistake. He's desperately trying to scramble out, and I think Islam's going to follow him and follow him and follow him, hunting to set up that sub, and I think he's going to find a Darce choke. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm seeing in this fight, and I think Islam just has more paths to victory. I don't think he's going to KO JDM, but I think Islam can find the sub. I think he can win on the feet. As crazy as that sounds, I think he can win on the feet. I think he can grapple to a decision win as well. I think Islam is really such a well-rounded mixed martial artist. And I think JDM, I'm not willing to say he's overrated because I haven't seen a lot of people like crazy hyping him up. But we have to really look at the resume. I mean, he beat Beneil in a boxing match that was razor close. He pulled a Hail Mary out against a Warsh Gilbert Burns. Split decision Kevin Holland. Robbery win against Basil Hafez. Okay, he beat Randy Brown, who just lost to Gabriel Bonfim. I think JDM, while he's very, very good, I think the Beneil win has kind of elevated him to a point where people think maybe he can beat Islam. But I think this should be a fairly clean win for Islam. But I do wonder, because even if, maybe Islam's a little bit better skill-wise, if JDM does have a size advantage, we're not really going to know until we see him. Maybe I feel like I don't really know until I see him in the cage. It's not even the weigh-ins. I don't feel like I get a good grasp on it. But if JDM has a significant size and strength advantage, I don't think it's going to be significant. I think they'll be pretty close. And unless that's the case where JDM just stuffs all the takedowns and gets so confident he can start ripping body shots on the feet and teeping and landing body kicks as well and really get comfortable, I don't think JDM wins this fight. Because he was comfortable against Beneil because he knew Beneil wasn't grappling. And he got loose on the feet. And even in that case, Beneil was landing good shots and was boxing well in that fight. And it was a very, very close fight. I think against Islam, he's going to be terrified to go to the ground. He's never going to try to accept the position. He's going to flail and fight like his life depends on it, not to stay down, which is a good strategy. But I think in those moments, in those transitional spaces, I think Islam will find that neck one way or another. I'm picking Islam Makhachev, second round Darce choke in a scramble, in a transitional space to get it done over JDM. And even if it's not second round, I could see it in the third or fourth round as well. We know Islam has good cardio. I think not having to cut weight is going to have an impact on his cardio that's beneficial. JDM, we know he's not going to get tired either. But also, we've seen a JDM who, in a 5-round fight, really didn't have the pace put on by Beneil like he normally does. So I think even then, I really am interested to see JDM go like a hard 5 rounds where he has to worry about the grappling threat. And also, the threat of the grappling sets up the striking. We've seen it against Alexander Volkanovski with the head kick KO. So I'm going to pick Islam to get it done. Darce choke in a transitional space. But one way or another, he's going to grab that neck of JDM and win the welterweight title. And I cannot wait. I'll be live streaming the entire card Saturday night, UFC 322 live stream. If you care to join me, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, like the video. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.